Hello, friends. So it is 2 days before my hysterectoversary. I'm going to leave that in. That's what we're going to call it. But almost 1 year ago, I had my hysterectomy surgery. I have been vlogging and talking about my journey and my experience on this channel for the past year. And so I thought it would be really cool to show you and to tell you about everything that I'm able to do now that I have had the surgery and how things are going with me 1 whole year later after the surgery. So if that's of interest to you, make sure to follow along with this video. So the first thing that I am going to tell you about is being able to exercise. So that's why we're starting this video at the park. So I'm currently about a little over a mile through my walk, and I wanted to stop and tell you that one of the things that I am now able to do after my surgery and after healing is I can pretty easily walk the 3-mile loop that I'm at right now in Houston. And my heart rate is normal. I feel good. I feel energized. I don't have to worry about how close the bathroom is. And it's just a really good feeling. Another thing that the hysterectomy did as far as like curing my bleeding is now I just have more stamina. Before, when I was bleeding a lot and hurting a lot, it would take a lot of energy just to get anything done. I did not have any stamina. I was always tired. And after my really bad bleeding event back in December of 2022, I actually could not walk this loop or even a mile at all. I had lost so much blood and I was in so much pain. And I just, even walking to the end of my driveway would have sent my heart rate up to like 160, 170. It was a really hard time in my life. So I'm just really happy to report that now I can do things like go out into nature. This is the bathroom. I did just use the bathroom, but I can just go to the bathroom and not worry about it, and it can be in a public place and it's totally okay. So I'm going to continue along my walk and update you with more awesome things about how I'm doing right now, 1 year post hysterectomy. Hello. So it is now 1 day before my hysterectomy, whatever I called it yesterday. And I thought that I would answer a couple of like common questions, a little FAQs before I go to the gym. So I'm wearing my little gym outfit and I will answer a couple more questions. So regarding other things that have happened, basically like since my hysterectomy that improved my quality of life. Yesterday at the park, I talked about my ability to basically have stamina and walk. I also want to just say I was able to go. I've been on, I think, like 3 trips since my hysterectomy, and I was able to walk like miles and miles and miles a day. And there is no way that I would have been able to do that before my hysterectomy surgery because I was in this cycle of like bleeding and like maybe some days not bleeding, but almost every day I had at least some spotting for years, like on end. It was terrible. So being able to go on trips, being able to like hang out with my friends. I was also able to go to London back in March of this year, so a little over a month ago, I was able to go to London and almost spend a whole week there. I was able to, I think one day I got like 16,000 steps or something. It was crazy. So I've been able to basically just keep up with being able to do the things that I enjoy doing. And that's from traveling to even being able to just go places alone and not worry about getting sick or like bleeding. So one of the things that happened to me before my bleeding event in December 2022 is I'd gone to the movies and I thought I was okay. And during the movie, like I had another bleeding event. I'm calling them that to like try to make these videos not sound as horrific as my experience has been for the past several years. But if you are watching this and you have been through what I've been through, you are reading between those lines. I don't have to spell it out for you. You already know that what I am talking about is absolutely horrendous. So, but for those of you who, you know, like are a little squeamish, I'm trying to keep it a little PG, but you probably know what I'm talking about. Okay, I also want to talk about ways that my body has changed. So, one of the things that I read about over and over again, as far as what happens after you have a hysterectomy, a bad thing that would happen to me maybe, is weight gain. So I'm happy to report that I have not gained any weight. I am currently, like, you know, I've been talking about this. I'm currently working on losing weight, but I have not gained any additional weight that I can contribute to the hysterectomy, like itself, right? So I did gain weight after the hysterectomy, but it was like months after. And I attribute that to basically, I started to feel better after I'd had the surgery. And I totally just like did whatever I wanted to do. I started eating whatever I wanted to eat. I started like just basically making up for lost time of like relaxing and eating, right? I do 0% contribute that to having the hysterectomy surgery. And I can say that with some confidence because now that I am starting to basically watch what I eat and I'm working out, I'm exercising, I'm moving more, the weight is starting to just go back down. So that's one thing. If when you have the surgery, you do need to take time to heal and to, you know, kind of take it easy. But if you don't want to gain, like I gained like 12 to 15 pounds, if you don't want to gain weight, just don't go crazy. So some examples of what I did that I feel like really contributed to me gaining weight is I have a sweet tooth. And so almost every day I was like going to Starbucks. I am not kidding. I started thinking back like, dang, I was going to Starbucks sometimes twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. And consuming sugary foods and beverages, those calories really add up. And if you add like an extra 300 to 500 calories a day, then you're going to gain like a pound a week if you're not, you know, burning it off. So that was a really big thing for me. I don't know what happened to me. I think I was just so happy to not constantly be bleeding or in pain that I was just like, woo! And I went to celebrate at Starbucks every single day. And so celebrate a little bit, but not too much. Okay. I don't attribute the weight gain to the hysterectomy directly. Okay, that was one thing. Another way, I'm trying to think. So another way my body has changed is my nails. So I don't wear like the really cool like fake nails and stuff But these are my natural nails, and you can see that they are all over the place. However, before my surgery, my iron levels were so low. You need some level of iron for basically all of your body functions to function, okay? But my nails were so brittle, and I naturally, it's just, like part of my genetic profile, basically. My nails are naturally very hard. And my mother has the same thing. My aunt could grow nails out to the point where they would curl. You've seen that on the Guinness Book of World Records or whatever. Like, she could grow them out until they would curl. My mother can do the same, right? So genetically, without anything, I have naturally hard nails. The past several years, since I've been going through bleeding and having all these issues, my nails became so brittle that I couldn't even do that without one of them breaking. And you can see, they're not pretty, but you can see that they are hard, they're growing back, and they're not breaking. I couldn't do that without them cracking a year ago, right? And actually, I should say a couple of months ago, because in my experience, after you have the hysterectomy surgery, if your iron levels are really low, you have to give your body a long time to recuperate. For example, I had my surgery in April of 2023. I had some blood work done back in late February of this year. And even though my iron levels have improved, I am technically still anemic. That is almost a year after my bleeding just stopped completely after this surgery. So give yourself a lot of grace. Give yourself a lot of time. If you have been dealing with bleeding a lot for years on end, it's going to take a long time for your body to recuperate and recover, and just get over it. Just give yourself grace. Get over any desire to speed up the process. You can take your iron supplements if your doctors say it's okay. Take your over-the-counter supplements. They also have prescription strength iron supplements. But it just is what it is. You gotta wait. And if you're like me and you have had some issues with your nails being brittle because of your anemia, also my toenails were brittle. I never even heard of a toenail being brittle. That just sounds crazy. There are mummies they dug up from thousands of years ago that still had toenails, okay? I never had a brittle toenail a day in my life. But being sick made even my toenails brittle. It was insane. I also had, I don't know if you can see, the top of my head, this area, the hair is starting to grow back. I almost had a silver dollar. For y'all that don't know, a silver dollar is maybe that big around, maybe a little bit bigger, like that. But I had almost a bald spot. There was still some hair, but it was really thin. My hair is starting to grow back because my body is healing from basically hemorrhaging for several years, okay? There you go. So those are some other ways that my body has changed since I had the surgery. I still have my ovaries, so I have not had any changes related to hormonal type things. So I'm very thankful for that. I still have both of my ovaries, so I woke up with the part of, missing the part of the system that was causing a lot of mess, but I still have the parts of the system that make life as comfortable as it can be at my age. There you go. So I didn't have, and I still don't have any negative side effects associated with any hormonal things. What else? Okay, so some personal questions. So another thing that I read online about having the surgery is like your sex drive being changed. And I think that may be more relevant to the ladies who also have to have their ovaries removed. I have been celibate for several years, and so I cannot speak to that. You'll have to find a video of a person, who has a partner who is engaging in like sex stuff. But I've been celibate since, before I even started having really crazy periods. So I cannot speak to that, unfortunately. But I can imagine that if I, was, got a random call from Chris Evans or some other like really good looking celebrity person. Let's pick somebody that's not married. What is that guy's name? Jake Gyllenhaal. We're going to pretend that he's our imaginary boyfriend instead of a married man. So I imagine that if Jake Gyllenhaal called me, I would answer, if you know what I'm saying. Like, if he was nice. I don't know though, so I can't speak to that. But I don't feel different in that way, but I don't know for sure. What else? Oh, another question that someone asked me, and this is personal experience, this is my personal answer. Don't come for me in the comments, but someone asked me, did I regret having this surgery because it meant, basically permanently that I would not have children? And as I've said in my other videos, children were not on my radar. I have heard of women who really had to grieve giving up the biological ability to carry a child to term, and that part was really hard for them. For me, that was not a consideration. I was not keeping my parts in hopes of having a baby. I was keeping my parts because I was a little nervous about being cut, like even having the surgery. So if you are a person for whom having a baby is a priority for you, you can talk to your doctor about maybe some other like interim treatment options that you could possibly have, and then possibly have your baby and then, take the more permanent fix after you have a baby. That's something that you could do. You could talk to your doctor about that. But as for me, my mental health has not been as good for a long time because I am no longer constantly thinking about what I need to wear, how many like pads or sanitary napkins or whatever I need to like have in my bag. Am I going to start bleeding out of nowhere, which happened to me many times, where I would just be at the store, at the movies, wherever. And like all of a sudden there's like, it was terrible. So I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to think about that anymore. And so that has greatly improved my mental health. Also, being able to just feel stronger. So I feel better physically, to the point where some days when I am frustrated or annoyed by some, just part of life, I honestly will just remember that I am not constantly actively bleeding, and that will cheer me up. Just remembering that I am no longer, living in fear of pain or period stuff going on. That alone has really, really improved my mental health more than I can even describe to you. It's absolutely just life-changing. Someone has also asked me about regret. Do I have any regrets with having this surgery? And, I want to give a kind of cheeky answer and say, my only regret is that I didn't do it sooner. But that's not really how I feel. I am very glad that I finally decided to have the surgery, but my suffering has allowed me to make these YouTube videos. I've had women ask me to meet them in person and like talk to them about my experience. Through the years of trying to manage the symptoms myself, I learned a lot about herbal remedies that I was able to use to mitigate or lessen, not mitigate, but at least lessen some of the symptoms for a long time until, my symptoms just became too severe for me to continue on with trying to fix it myself, basically. But that suffering did give me a lot of time to try to educate myself, and now I am able to pass that education along to other people. So it might sound so sappy, but I don't really regret not having the surgery sooner, but I am, and I'm glad that I'm able to pass along anything that I've learned to other women. So I honestly don't regret it, but I am glad that I had it when I had it. So if that's even an answer. Okay, I have to skedaddle and go to the gym. I'm going to show you some things that I do at the gym to show you that now that my body has healed, it can do lots of things, including pick up heavy stuff. So let's go to the gym and I will show you what I'm able to do now that I'm healed from my surgery.
Perfect.
This is terrible.